Episode 336 today, what we're going to talk about, we're going to be talking about the NHL rookie showcases and everything going on there. So really feels like hockey's getting closer to starting, which is really awesome. I've been looking forward to this for a very long time now and super excited about it. And with the start, we have the NHL prospect tournaments, which are obviously massive, going on everywhere. And I remember a few years ago, it was always the Traverse City tournament, right? You'd always hear about the Traverse City tournament and how teams would just filter in there, certain teams would play there. What it feels like more of now is teams like to stay within their geographical locations a little bit more and be able to have that analysis still and be able to face certain teams a little bit more. And I don't know if this is something to do with the teams they face more often in the NHL, like say the Western teams playing Western teams and division versus division, like the Avalanche versus Utah or something like that. I don't know if that's a factor, but I just find it interesting how a lot of these teams they like to stay within their own locations now, just so they can be able to still get that analysis that they want on the players. And I just believe it's more of a travel thing than anything else. I don't think it's really that complicated, but I just find it interesting how a lot of these teams are doing it. So, but what's really exciting is the we have a wealth of prospects who are going to be so much fun to watch in the NHL this year, outside the NHL this year. So many guys, it feels like there's one impact guy from at least every team. And rarely it feels like we have the opportunity to see that every single year, especially when we're talking about prospects. But it's exciting because we have a lot of prospects who are also healthy. That's another big thing is a lot of these prospects that are playing, they're healthy, they're ready to go, they've overcome surgeries, little adversities, and it just feels like this year more of these prospects are actually healthy than other years. So that's really good to see right off the bat. But I'm excited. There's a lot of good players on each team, and I mean we could go across every roster if we wanted to. I'm just gonna name a few guys that I think are gonna stand out, and some guys more than others. But Daily Faceoff, they had an interesting article talking about they gave one prospect from every team that can make an impact, and it just made me really think about this and maybe want to do this podcast just because like there's so many names out there scrolling through this list that are like, wow, these guys can all make an impact in the NHL this year. At least over half the list, maybe even at least 20 of the guys on the list, which is insane to say, but it's true. So it's exciting. They obviously, so they listed for Montreal, they listed David Reinbacher, a right shot. For Ottawa, they listed Carter Yakimchuk. I really like Yakimchuk too. He's an underrated guy. He actually had, I remember early on last year, he looked really good in preseason playing some of those games. Toronto, theirs was Easton Cowan. That's no surprise. He's probably the best prospect right now. Just a lot of potential, a lot of upside there. With Winnipeg was Elias Salamonson and right shot D, good puck mover, good two-way D. And I think he's going to be a smart, physical style defenseman. Like he's a hands-on defender in terms of physicality, but he's smart with how he uses his physicality and his angles to really gap up and shut plays down. That's what I really like about him, and especially given some. I like those guys that play in the Finnish Elite League or the Swedish Hockey League because they learn how to defend. Those leagues, they teach you how to defend a little bit more effectively. Typically, the Swedes and the Finns are more reliant on angular play, using their sticks and stuff like that, more than modern elements, especially at the junior level too. But I think with Sal Monson, he's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be an impact player right away, but with Manitoba, he looked really good. So he's going to be an exciting player to watch. Calgary, theirs was Andrew Basha, who was listed. That one's no surprise too. I think we're gonna see, and it says in the article too. I have the article listed with me side by side, so I'm not naming all these off the top of my head, but I'm just going over familiarity sense in terms of what I've seen from these guys over the course of time. Calgary, they listed Andrew Bosher, but for me, it's more Zane Perek or maybe a Hunter Bruskevich type thing. I like Zane Perek a lot. Zane Perek's really exciting to watch, and I think Zane Perek's going to be in the NHL this year. For Edmonton, they listed Ike Howard, and that one's a really good one. I really like that he's a guy who, again, he could be in the NHL right away. He won the Hobey Baker. He's won at every level. He's made an impact at every level. Now it's just a matter of what is he going to do in pro hockey. We've seen what he can do in college. What is he going to do in the pros? He's 21 years old, first round pick of Tampa. Obviously, got traded from Tampa earlier in the summer. What is he going to be? We're going to figure that out over the course of time. Boston, theirs was listed as Fraser Minton, and would have been nice to see James Hagens here, but obviously he's back at Boston College, and he's not going to be back with the Bruins quite yet. But we're going to see James Hagens with Boston eventually. Fraser Minton's a really good one, though. Obviously, he was acquired from Toronto with the Brandon Carlo deal. Look at Minton's game; he's a two-way detailed center, and he had some games. I believe it was I don't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago now, where he got some games in the regular season right away, and he was playing third line center, some really tough matchups, and he was playing really well. So the two-way details in this game are going to be interesting to watch. I see Minton as more of not necessarily a top six guy, but maybe more of a middle six shutdown style center who can provide some offense and chip in offensively there too. Buffalo is listed as Consta Helenius, who had a good year in Rochester last year. Still learning to play the game, play the pro game a little bit more. Had some experience playing in the Finnish Elite League too. He's going to be an interesting one. Columbus, they have Jordan Dume, which I actually really like. That's a really good choice too in my eyes. I think the thing with Dume is he he's competitive, he's feisty, he's really slick at handling the puck on his stick, so he can find a way to maneuver around guys, but also go through you, which is a rare combination. And he's very skilled, very underratedly skilled, probably one of the more underrated guys on this list, but he's very exciting to watch. Sneaky bet long term to become an impact player in the NHL. New Jersey, Seamus Casey, who we saw last year at the rookie tournament, looked really good. This year, he's going to probably look even better. And I would imagine he's going to get top pair minutes with the Devils and their prospects. Just looks so good. He's so fun to watch. He's like it's hard to think of a good comp for him, but if I'm thinking New Jersey, I would think Luke Hughes, just a smaller version of Luke Hughes. Just the way he plays the game, the way he handles the puck, the way he uses deception on his feet, stuff like that. And just so good, so exciting to watch. Pittsburgh was listed as Owen Pickering, who I really liked as well. I think he has potential to be more of a second pairing D, like a number three, number four guy. I don't really envision him being a number one or number two, maybe a complementary guy in those type of roles, but there's certainly potential. He has a big component to him with his size element. He's got a long rangy stick, just a lot of potential impact out of him there. And then with the Rangers, they listed Brennan Othman, and I would argue, I mean, Brennan Othman's a good player to watch, but I like watching Gabe Perreault. I think Gabe Perreault's going to make an impact. I think he has the most potential right now, just the way he plays, the way he handles the puck, the way he maneuvers and shifts defensive coverage as an offensive guy. Just he's going to be a weapon for years to come there too. So Flyers, theirs was Alex Bump, obviously really good at Western Michigan, helped them win a national championship. There's a lot of elements to Bump's game in terms of his shot, his ability to make plays, his ability to get inside on guys and get off the wall. He's an intriguing factor. I think he could slot into more of a top nine, maybe even middle six type role right off the bat with Philly. So we'll see what he does. Carolina, and again, I'm gonna just try to go a little faster through some of these lists because there's a lot more to get to too. But Carolina's Bradley Nadeau, a guy who I really like, and Florida was listed as Jack Devine, which was an interesting one for me. I like Jack Devine, seventh round pick a few years ago. He played excellent at Denver last year, and I'm curious to see what he's going to be in the pro game and how he's going to round his game out a little bit more. I think we're going to see more speed, and I think we're going to continue to see that power skating element improve in his game. He used to be a big weakness of his when he was playing youth hockey, but he's improved upon it a lot over the course of time. So where he's actually legitimately made speed more of a weapon for himself. So he's been interesting to watch. Nashville's Tanner Molendyke, and then Tampa was Sam O'Reilly, who was recently acquired from Edmonton. Dallas was Emil Hemming, and that's an interesting one for Dallas. Detroit was listed as Nate Danielson. I really like Danielson's game. I think he has the potential to make the Detroit lineup this year. He's played well in Grand Rapids. He's played some tough matchups there as a young centerman. He is doing really good. Just positional instincts and stuff like that. Really good, really aware and stuff like that. So I think he has the potential to make an impact in the NHL this year. Seattle was listed as Berkeley Catton, who I really like, super skilled, fun to watch, tons of good playmaking and offensive elements in his game, and he's so exciting to watch there. And then with Anaheim, Steven Solberg, who's a more of a shutdown D and can play an offensive role when need be as well. I think there's a lot of impact that he can make in his game this year, and certainly a fun player to watch as well. And then we'll go through a couple more here. Colorado, one of my favorites, Gavin Brindley. That was their player to watch here. I think Gavin Brindley has legitimate potential to be an NHL guy right off the bat. And again, he can make an impact coming out of training camp. There's a lot to like in his game in terms of hands, how he's able to control the puck, how he's able to control pressure. And there's so many elements to like in his game. He's so exciting to watch. And I'm curious to see what he's going to be in Colorado. I think he could be in more of an impact player there. With Utah, theirs was listed as Dmitry Simashev, who a guy I've liked more and more over the course of time. And you could argue he's a little bit of a reach in the top 10 for where he's drafted. I think it's just because of the situation that Arizona had at the time. They didn't really have another option. But with Simashev, you look at him as a guy who's like, okay, he's still a big defenseman. He's a good rangy puck mover. He has the ability to make impact plays with his physicality and also his reach, and also his ability to close gaps quick and how he moves so quick. So there's a lot of potential for him to make an impact, a lot of potential for him to maybe even play more of an offensive role over the course of time too. So we're gonna see what happens there. With Vegas, it was Trevor Connolly, a player who I'd really like too. He's fun to watch. He's a playmaker, very nifty hands. He's gotten compared to Kyle Connor a lot, which I certainly see there. And just a very, very exciting player to watch in terms of speed, creativity, offensive flair, and being able to go through defenders with his hands as well. For Chicago, theirs was listed as Oliver Moore, but for me, I like Sam Renzel a little bit more. I'm really curious to see what he's going to be. I think he has the ability to make the most impact of the prospects on this team in the short amount of time that he's going to be at the Tom Curver Showcase in Minnesota. I think with Renzel, he looks even better coming out of the summer, which is really intriguing to see. I like Oliver Moore a lot. I just don't know what he's going to be right off the bat in the NHL. But I love Sam Renzel. He's so good, so much fun to watch. I've admired what he's been able to do in the short amount of time that he's been in Chicago, but he looks like a real legitimate top four defenseman, maybe even a top two guy. So there's a lot of potential there. Minnesota is listed as Danila Yurov, a player who I've loved for a long time too. And you could argue Zeke William. I mean, I could go either way. I like Yurov a lot. I think William has the ability to make more impact here. So we could talk about William as well, but I just like both. Yurov's just fun to watch because he's like a, I don't want to say Kaprizov. There's a little bit of Kucherov in him, stylistically speaking. I don't necessarily know if it's the same level of upside, but the thing with Yurov that stands out is his ability to make impact plays under pressure, how he handles the puck, how he maneuvers offense, and just how he's able to control pressure and stuff like that. And then St. Louis, this was our last one, was listed as Dalibor Dvorsky. Actually, I forgot to mention Zeke William. So Zeke William in Minnesota, just a player who I believe can be a legitimate top four defenseman for Minnesota this year. Very exciting to watch. He pushes pace in transition, he handles pucks with his head up, very aware offensively and in transition, controls the rush, controls breakouts, has all the translatable qualities that you want in not only a transitional defenseman, but a defenseman who can make an impact and walk the line in the O zone as well. And then last but not least, we mentioned Dalibor Dvorsky for St. Louis. Has legit top six potential still. He can play center, he can play wing. He's skilled at handling pucks, skilled at driving the offense. He can play on the perimeter, but he also is not afraid to go the inside, which is a nice little touch there. So he's gonna be a player that's fun to watch for a long time as well.